here is a culture of not only a culture of collaboration, but just really a culture of getting to know each other. We learn from each other. And I'm super excited because we have a great guest. I'm so honored that she agreed to do this because you will probably not find her on Zooms very often, like she was sharing.
Mhm.
So uh, definitely an honor for me, Alice. Thank you so much. And so if you guys have not met Alice yet, you will see her around. You will know who she is. She's been, and I'll have her tell you more about herself as well. But I met her about it's been about a month and a half, 2 months ago. She's now part of our Palos Verdes office, high producer. She's been around in this business for a long time with a lot of experience, a lot of good insights. And so thank you, Alice, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very pleased. I appreciate it. I'm honored, but thanks.
Oh no, well, here's what we're I mean, I'm gonna be taking notes. I'm gonna be learning from you. So
Okay.
I've got some good questions for you, hopefully, and that you guys will take some notes here too, because you're gonna be learning from a top producer. But before we start, Alice, like, what did life look like before real estate? Well, what did you do?
My work history was in aerospace. I worked for Hughes Aircraft, Raytheon, Boeing for over 20 years, 20 plus years.
Oh,
Yeah, I was in
awesome.
operations. I was an operations
Uh-huh.
manager for the
Okay.
company.
And from there, how did it get you to how did you get pushed into real estate?
It wasn't it was by happen chance. I think that's,
Happenstance?
yeah,
Chance,
that,
happenstance?
yeah, that. I On a Tuesday, I was on a sabbatical from aerospace. And I was on a sabbatical and I went to lunch with a friend in Lanada Bay on a Tuesday, and there was all these open house signs. And I was like, "You're having open house on a Sunday? I mean, on a Tuesday, not on Sunday? What's that about?" And I walked into a house because I wanted to see. And I walked into a house, and the lady was not very nice to me at all. And then I called a friend of mine I worked with in aerospace, who became a Remax agent. And I said, "What's that all about? What do you guys do that on Tuesday?" And he explained it to me, and he says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I just got back from another trip, because I'm on this sabbatical for 3 years, right? I didn't have to work for 3 years." And he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I guess I'll get another job somewhere." And he says, "Why don't you try real estate?" And I said, "Me?" And he goes, "Yeah, she would be great at it." And
Mm.
I said, "Well, why do you think I would be great at it?" And he said, "Because you have the gift of gab." And I went, "What?" And he goes, "And you're smart, and you'll figure it out. You bought and sold so many houses of your own. You'll do well." That day, I got online. 6 months later, to the day, I had my license.
Wow.
Yeah, that day. And I
And I
said,
don't
"I'm
and I don't want to date you or anything like that, but what year was that?
2002."
2002. All right,
Mhm.
2002. And then what was the next step from there?
I hung my license with Shorewood Realtors because they had this really good rookie program for
Uh-huh.
6 weeks. And, coming from aerospace, my brain, the way my brain works is very, processed oriented. So I had to understand the process of selling. I've never sold anything. I was in operations. So I didn't have, but I had to learn how to work with different people. I would work with scientists. I would work with packers. I would work with the shipping guy. I'd work with, the engineering. So anytime I needed something, I had to look at who I was talking to and what I needed from them to make production. So yeah, and I was very immature when I said, if I could sit across from the Navy and negotiate a contract with them, I can sit across the cellar and sell their house. Well,
For
that
sure.
was no. It was easier to work with the Navy than it is to work with the seller. By far. Yeah. But so I hung my license with Shorewood for 7 years because
Uh-huh.
their program was so good and their office was ran so well. And they had 44% of the market share in the beach cities. And that was
Yeah.
another reason why I hung my license with them.
Yeah. And I mean, is that the area you grew up in?
No, I grew up in Compton.
Uh-huh.
That's why I have a little bit of attitude. But no, I grew up in Compton, but I came out to the South Bay because of aerospace in 1979. Yes, I'm old. So in 1979. And I've been in the South Bay since. And
Okay.
yeah, the Torrance, Lomita area. But then my office was in Hermosa Beach. And that's where
Okay.
I built my business was Redondo, Hermosa, Manhattan.
Okay,
Yeah.
so take me back to that first year. Biggest challenges.
Hmm.
What was like something big that was just unexpected? Because like we usually hear real estate courses, the real estate test. I mean, so different than being out there in real life in real estate. What was a big surprise for you there? Like, wow, this is something pretty hard. I never thought, and I never knew about this part.
Well, uh, the scripts were really hard for me.
Okay.
I could not put them in my own words as much as I tried. Um, and I was a Mike Ferryite for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of training there, but the hardest thing for me was scripts, really hard.
Yeah.
Cold calling, really hard because I want to, that's why I'm not on Zoom much because I want to be in front of people, not on the phone. I couldn't connect. It was really hard. I was out of my skin.
So this was, I mean, pre-social media, pre a lot of the things that we're doing now. I mean, when you were first starting off, I mean, was that they were saying, Alice, this is what you got to do. Pick up the phone, just call these numbers. Was that what it was for agents
Mm-hmm.
to lead generate
Mm-hmm.
during that
Oh
time?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially the first 6 months, Shore would have us, all in a room, just calling, cold calling, and working with our title on the farms, and they give us the phone numbers, and then the do
Yeah.
not call list, and every time to dial that number was a panic for me. Yeah,
Okay. I mean, it's a panic. Were you getting leads or was it just like, oh my God, like where's this going? Okay. Well, when
no,
did things start working? Like, what was there something that had to change, or what was it with the there's a turning point moment where, all right, there's a deal. Now there's another closing. Now, okay, now there's an appointment. How did that start happening?
like my friend said, I had the gift of gab. And what worked for me was being more social and
Okay.
putting together things and volunteering and being in a room of people because it's a numbers, right? Sales is a numbers game, right? So the more people I can talk to, all I needed was one. And where that one took me to, not just the one sale, but the referrals I could get from that and the leads I can get from that. So I poured myself more into volunteering in my community. I lived in Lomita, and I was my friends with friends at VFW. Where else? Well, at Hughes, I always stayed in touch with my Hughes sphere, always. So I attended the weddings and the birthdays and to get myself in front of them. Yeah, and then to school, the little elementary school close to my home. I would go there, and uh, there was a mom's moment. And I don't have any kids, so but I had my little dog, and so I would always walk there, and then I'd meet the moms, and then the moms would invite me, to things at the school, and I would go. And, the dog helped a lot.
Okay. Oh, no, that's good. Okay, so Alice, let's say that one more time for everybody. You joined the moms group
Mhm.
without having any kids.
Mm-mm.
But but that didn't stop you.
Mm-mm.
What went into your mind to say, I'm gonna join a mom's group?
Well, they were all so nice. They were all so nice. And then I was giving back, and participating. And then I would bring swag, and that kind of led to real estate conversations. Yeah.
Well, and I love that, and I don't think this stuff has changed. I mean, this is stuff like being involved in groups, network groups, or just community groups and volunteering. I think it's still a very powerful thing that I think a lot of agents aren't tapping into right now. Why do you think that is?
Social media, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah. Maybe it's social media. It's easier to do it on your laptop than it is
yeah.
to literally go out there and get and really give back, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But nothing beats that face to face and just getting to know
Mm-mm.
people. Good. Uh, but Alice, I mean, you've been in the business for a while. We all, even agents that have been in the business for a short period of time, they've always had deals that have just either fallen apart or just gone sideways. And I always like to ask, I mean, tell me about a deal where it was like, oh man, this is such a good lesson to learn. It totally did not go expected, but I still walked away learning something. Tell us a story.
Oh, every agent has a story, I mean, right?
Yeah.
And after 23 years, you have a few of them. And, you know, um, uh, I think that the one was I was sued for $46,000 because of
Wow.
smell. Yes. And what it was this family had these German shepherds, and they have those big dog pillows, the big ones, and they were in the living room. And I brought Febreze. I took the pillows, I put them out in the side yard, and I Febrezed everything. Right. The lady was represented by another agent, bought the home, closed, and she went to build a second story, went into the foundation, and all the smell came out. And what it was back in the day, they built homes like they have those telephone poles with the black grease on it, kerosene, or I don't know what it's called, but it smells. Back in the early two, before Christ, I guess. I don't know how they built them, but you can't use that because it's toxic. And so I was sued because they said that I knew because I was covering up with the Febreze. That's why I was sued. And so I learned from that I said to the sellers, when that happens, and I walk in and I tell them to fix it. I tell them to correct it. Though they didn't win the lawsuit because I was never under the house and I didn't know how it was built. I didn't know the wood. I don't know wood from a desk. I don't know. And so so I learn. I see something. I see a leak, a stain on the ceiling. And I tell them to fix it, or we're going to have this fixed prior, and you're going to pay for it, and or you're going to sign that you had it done, whether I pay for it or they do, whoever. But that they have to answer it to it, not me or my
Yeah.
brokerage.
Well, Alice, I like that you said that because I think a lot of agents, I mean, look, we all want to go above and beyond. We want to help our clients out, and clients say, hey, like this house really smells. Like, hey, don't worry, I got it. I'll come in there. I got the Febreze. I've got the candles. I'll take care of it. And
The
we
candles.
yeah, we have
Forgot
this.
about the candles. Yeah, the
Yeah,
candles.
I mean, we want to do those things, but I think a lot of agents too, we don't always think about liability.
Mhm. You have to think about liability. It's
Every
always in the
deal.
back of it should always be in the back of your mind. Yeah. How is this going to come back on us? Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say us, I say our brokerage.
Yeah, sure, sure. And I told agents all the time, I was like, hey, watch out for this because you don't want to say this, you don't want to write that. And then, I mean, sometimes agents may think, Richard's just being a nerd. He's just getting too, cautious. We're
OCD.
trying to, it's fine kind of thing. But Alice, I mean, that's a great story to
Oh,
learn
thanks.
from because every deal has liability. You just never know. Who would have thought? Who would have thought when you're doing that? You had the best intentions of trying to
Hmm.
sell the home for your sellers and to help them out with
Hmm.
the smell.
Hmm. Smokers,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I mean, look, with deals too, Alice, I mean, there's always pressure. I mean, there's pressure with deals, keeping it together. They start falling apart. Let's say you get requests for repairs that are just insane, or you get appraisal issues. I mean, what are some best practices of ways that you keep these deals together? Is it through communication? Is it through expectations? Like, what do you do to keep the deals together?
It's communication, us as agents, when we see things shift, we have to come with a solution to a prob before we bring it to our clients. So we need to work it out together to see what we need to do to save the deal, or if we know it's going to, fall apart, walk away, then, we need to have that conversation so that when we take it to our client, we can already let them know the position of or what we need to negotiate to keep it together.
Yeah.
So when you don't get that call, I mean, I'd like to be in front of my laptop and my emails 24/7, but you can't be in the middle of a deal and send an email going, "Oh, okay, I'm out." Like, wait, yeah, but I didn't know because I didn't check my email. That's what the phone is for. It's not just for taking pictures; it's for communication.
Yeah.
Let them know, and let's try to, and can't make somebody stay in a transaction, but let's talk it through. Let's talk it out and it's not about us. It's about the client. Okay. It's about your buyer. It's about my seller. It's about them. Okay. Did they find out that they drove by on a Saturday night and they saw a bunch of homeless people in the alley? They don't want to live there. We can't change that,
Yeah.
right? We can't.
Yeah.
We can't change that. So if that's really important to them, then now we understand. And then we have to take it back to the seller on how, the next one we get, how do we salvage it? Because that's going to be an issue.
Oh, the good. I mean, you can't just say, "Hey, well, these homeless people though, I know that they're really nice, and like they're actually really nice ones."
So
I mean,
nice. They got the best drugs and everything.
yeah, yeah. Well, I tell agents all the time, if you're trying to sell everything, like you're trying to sell every single home, like, and because there's no, there's always going to be homes that are just not going to be the right fit. But if you try to sell everything that you come across, you're going to become a terrible salesperson. A lot of times it's talking people even out of, not necessarily talking them out of it, but also pointing out the negative. Like, hey, it's got homeless people in the alley. Like, how do you feel about that? And that wins the trust.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one now in Vermont in 223rd, and it started with one trailer because going down Vermont past Torrance Boulevard, there's a bunch of RVs, not trailers, but RVs, bunch of them over there. Now they're making their way down towards Sepulveda. And it's when I took the listing, there was one. Now there's seven. And I told the client, it, it's been several months, and I said you got to lower that price because that's the first thing they see before they drive into the complex. So you got
Yeah.
to lower it. If you want to get rid of it, the only thing that's going to do it is the price.
How do you have those kinds of conversations? I mean, I think that's a really tough conversation to have, even for seasoned agents, about lowering the price.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Because
have that conversation.
yeah, in some ways too, a seller could look at it as like, well, my agent didn't do the job of getting me the home that I wanted. I mean, what are some ways that you can just really that you just help yourself have that conversation with sellers?
Well, you bring them the information. We started with one. I took a picture. I remember I took a picture. And I said, I'm really concerned about that because I know I was in a transaction down the street and there were several of them, and that's all the buyers talked about were the RVs, and they're making their way down. So we need to shift. We need to make that shift when we start to see another one come, and so I want to keep you in tune to it.
Yeah.
And then when the second one came, I said, Catherine, I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned that it's going to happen because I know because I experienced it down the street. And then she did, to because the other ones didn't sell after we sold. They're still on the market. They didn't sell because they stayed at their price, and then now there's seven RVs out
Yeah.
there. So it's getting worse over there. But it's the conversation, bring them evidence. It's just not you woke up and went, oh, lower the price. No, you have to tell them the guy down the street sold at a different price. Oh, the new one came on, but it's turnkey. Yours, needs a lot of work, and you have to bring the data. You have to have that conversation with them, and prepare them. And you don't have to lower it today, but let's see what happens next week. But if not, we have to lower it by Sunday so that we go into a fresh week or whatever you want to have a conversation. But bring
Yeah.
them the information,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah. Love that.
so that
Okay.
they feel that they're part of the decision.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Alice, knowing what you know now, let's say you either go back in time or now it's no, actually now it's 2026. You get your license. You start a new life. It's a brand new real estate agent. Zero pipeline, zero,
Yeah.
nothing. You got nothing. What do your first 30 days look like?
Oh, I would say to them, you need to call everybody you know, your cousins, your brothers, your uncles, your neighbors, your ex-boyfriends. I know I did, and you've got to let them know. This is what I left aerospace. I got my license. I've been studying. You know, I'm in this great brokerage for the last 6 weeks. I'm really excited. And do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell property? I kid you not. I've been saying that for 23 years. And just like moving over to the PV office, I did the same thing. I called everybody I knew. And I said, guess what? I've stayed with my company, and I'm very excited that I've moved to this other office, and the opportunities are just so great. And I'm, just it's only been a few weeks, but I'm really excited of the opportunities for 2026 that are going to be coming my way. And do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell property? I kid you not. And but so the first 30 days, call everybody because everybody knows somebody who's going to sell real estate. And that's the way to do it. And then you need to go out there. Call them, yes, if that works for you. Bless your heart. But you got to let them know that it's not, you don't want to be secret agent. I don't want to tell anybody I got into real estate. You don't want to be a secret agent. You want everybody to know. You want them to support you, and all you have to do is ask them, and
But
they will.
Alice, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want my friends to think that I'm just trying to sell them something. Like, how do I get past that?
Oh no, that's okay. That's great. I'm going to give you my card, and I know it's going to come up. just just let them know that I'm there to help them. I'm there to help them, and any questions that they have, and just give my card. And if not,
Yeah,
that's fine. Or
yeah,
give me their number if you feel it's more comfortable for me to call them. I have no problem doing that either. You
yeah,
know, but whatever you feel comfortable with, okay. And then they feel more comfortable with that.
yeah.
Again, I got the gift of gab. So,
It's a great gift to have.
mm,
Now, Alice, next, they say every, new agents, and I hate to like, and I don't like this stat actually. I really don't. I don't like sharing this, but it's out there. I mean, in the United States, the first 2 years, about 80% of agents fall out of the business. And so
mm.
looking at that, I mean, what does an agent need to do to really separate themselves from that stat? Like how do they become just not another stat, but they can just really thrive in this business over the next couple? Like what do you think really separates those agents?
Well, you have to do what you say. You know, if you say that this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to block my time to do this. You need to do that. You need to be consistent.
Yeah.
You just can't wake up and go, I'm going to do sales today. Oh, I'm not, because nobody controls, and there's no accountability, right, in real estate unless you have a team. Mike Ferry worked wonders for me. So but accountability, find an accountability partner and talk to the team leader about how do I get an accountability, how will you help me to be accountable, and get them on these calls weekly, the mindset meeting, to participate and engage and then execute what you've learned that week. And accountability is really important. That's
Tell,
what
tell,
worked for me, you
tell me
know.
more about the accountability and the coaching and why Mike Ferry was so good for you.
And Mike, yeah, I was a Mike Ferry. Because it taught me to be a salesperson. See, I was never a salesperson.
Yeah,
It was in operations. I built things. I shipped things. But I had to learn how to be a salesperson and close,
yeah,
you know. So they of course they teach you scripts. They teach you accountability, you know, and how to run this like a business, right? It's a business, and then train me how to do sales. So if you could get into something like that, Tony Robbins, I did that. I would go to his seminars, and of course, they're very stimulating. They really are. And even now that there's Zoom, why can't they? They don't have to go all the way to Palm Springs to go to a convention a couple of times a year.
yeah.
And then it's expensive as well. Now we have Zoom, so participate in that. Um, find a coach. You know, find an accountability partner. I
Yeah,
we had we would do it on the phone. Okay, I'm old.
yeah,
Okay. Literally, we would have a three-way call, myself and two other agents, and they were like Ventura and Orange County and me, because we were all Mike Ferryites. And we would have these accountability calls a couple of times a week, if I remember. Yeah, if I remember. And we would discuss what our coaches would give us as a action for the week and how we did for that week, stuff like that.
I love that. I'm a big believer in coaching and accountability, and also everybody knows I'm almost borderline obsessed with scripts and what to
That
say.
is the outcome.
And so we got that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. If you want to get better at it, and the way I always say it, Alice, is if you don't want to sound scripty, you got to practice it. You sound scripty when you don't practice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But Alice, this was so good. This was so good. A lot of good takeaways. I love the lessons that you learned with your transactions, the liability factor to just being careful of it. First 30 days, call the people you know. Don't be a secret agent. Don't be scared.
Don't be a secret
Love
agent.
that. Love that.
No, I was because the previous company. Oh, it's 8:30. Well, really
No, that's
quick.
okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The
Finish.
previous company, well, with Shorewood, I've only been with two companies. So with Shorewood, I had this really good coach, and for 6 weeks, and I got my license on a Friday, and I called her and I said, "Oh my God, I got my license." And she goes, "Okay, Alice, what are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know." She goes, "Alice, we've been doing this for 6 weeks," and I went, "Oh, okay, I'll go door knock." And I got my little dog, and because everybody knew my little dog in the neighborhood, and I door knocked, and I kid you not, on the seventh door that I knocked on, and I said, "Hi, I'm Alice. I live down the street. I'm a realtor. I give you some information here about what's been selling in the community and all that." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Oscar, your dog." And I'm like, "Yeah, don't get jealous. Stop it." Okay, so that's my other dog. And so he says, "Come back on Tuesday." And I said, "Okay." So my coach and I went back on Tuesday. I got the listing. Okay. So mind you, Friday I got my license. Tuesday I got my first listing. We walked out of the house. I said to my coach, "Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited." She goes, "Alice, what are you going to do next?" And I went, "I don't know." And she said, "Alice, we've been doing this for 6 weeks." And I went, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." She goes, "Call everybody you know and tell them what happened." I
Yeah.
said, "Okay." So the next day, Wednesday, I call everybody. I called my ex-boyfriend, Ron. I kid you not. I called Ron, my ex-boyfriend. "Ron, you're not going to believe what happened." And I told him the story. And then I ended it with, "Do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell property?" And he goes, "Yes, my uncle. He's selling his tall and skinny in Redondo Beach. He's moving to San Diego." Friday, I went to uncle's house, got my second listing in Redondo Beach, tall and skinny. Back then, they were like 599, something like that. Right now they're like what, 1,200,000, 1,300,000. And uh, so I got my second listing in one week. because I listened to my coach. I listened to her and I did what she told me to. And then I reported back to her how many calls I made. Out of those calls, how many appointments did I get? And it was all in numbers. And but for that coaching and that support, and I just went, this is for me. And I just threw myself into my Tom Ferry or Mike Ferry and my office coach. She was just great. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, what a good story. What a good story. Go out there, knock on doors and call people, but it all just comes down to contacts. Thank you so much, Alice. This was great.
Context. Yeah.
This was great for me.
Thank you,
It
Alice.
was great for
You
me.
were
Thank you
great.
guys. Oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
so nervous. It's so good.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank
Nice
you, Alice.
Bye,
nice to meet
girls and guys.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody, and the rest of your Friday. Good luck on open houses, showings, whatever you guys are doing. Go out there. Hope this was inspirational. It certainly was for me. So thanks for joining, guys. Take care.
Bye,
Great. Alice,
everybody.
Thank you,
you said a
Richard.
great
Thank you.
message. You gave a
Oh, thank
great
you, sweetheart. That
message.
goes a long way. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
It
I
does.
love you.
I
Okay,
love your guts too, sweetheart.
thank you. Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye
Bye.
Thank you,
bye. Bye,
Alice.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.